Hi, this is Elvis Lizardo from the Bronx, New York. Thank you for listening to the Crown Revs podcast. Serve the game.
My man, my favorite guy from Vermont.
there's like 5 people in Vermont, so that's not saying much.
Well, that's why I chose you. I don't know anyone else.
You go. Actually, since I sent you the IPR or the video, I have not refed again because of some COVID stuff, just delaying things with the rec games.
I'm definitely interested to hear like how your time back to the court now is with kind of a new upload, right, of information,
right,
and some things to work on. So definitely let me know how it goes.
For sure, yeah.
And honestly, your game was a little light. That's why I asked for a second game, just because you didn't have a ton of calls, and a lot of the ones you did were great. I thought they were really, like, you're a really strong official. So, I would have liked to timestamp 37 plays if I could have, but that's really only up to the game and the official.
Right. Yeah, no, that's okay. I think we can find topics to touch on that maybe will lead on to just longer conversations and, diving deep into them. I think one place I'd like to start is just talking a little bit about my signals. I obviously, take pride in my signals. Yeah. And I really appreciate, you being nitpicky and just giving me some things that I can tweak just to make them look even better. My hit is something that I've been working on, and I thought I knew there was something off about my hit. I remember hearing you in previous podcasts talk about popping the arm out, right? And I think I have been doing that. I've just been doing a little bit too much. It's like popping it out way out here, and then because of that, I do get into a little bit of a wind up, and something felt weird. And when I saw you do it in the video, just like keep it in tighter and like it's not winding up as much. Like that looks great. Right. So that's something small that I think I'm definitely gonna pick up. Yeah, I've been doing a lot.
We'll get into more of what you got, but that's just one thing I noticed about other officials. I never like that long kind of hammer hit, right? Where it's just too much of a range of motion. I just think we can keep it a little bit tighter, a little bit more compacted. So I'm glad you were able to take that tip and apply it.
For sure, yeah. For sure. I've been doing a lot of in the last 4 or 5 years, most of my experience with refereeing outside of the court has been teaching other referees, and that obviously has helped me a lot. But it's also great to get some personalized feedback on my own games, which I have not been getting much of that lately. Early in my career, I was getting a lot of that just through NIRSA tournaments and regionals. And that was amazing. That's really what introduced me to officiating, and why I fell in love with it was just because of the tight-knit community that NIRSA has. I really think there's going to be a lot of really good officials coming out from NIRSA, and I mean there already are. There's a couple guys in the NBA, some young people in the NBA that I've officiated with that came up through NIRSA. Yeah. There's Robert Hughesy. I'm kind of shouting some names out there, but there's a few of them out there. But yeah. Tyler Ford is another one. Obviously, he's a little older than me. I met him once at Ohio State University for a national, and I asked him some advice on how to officiate big as a shorter person, because I'm not that tall. He's not that tall. There's just a lot of little things that we can do with our voice, our mechanics, looking sharp, having command, and a good presence out there, which is something some questions I have for you about how to officiate with a bigger presence.
Yeah, and we addressed some of that, some of those topics on the Tyler Ford podcast. I thought he gave some really candid answers. I didn't really want to ask him like, hey, so how does it feel, being a shorter ref? How are you able to overcome that? But, it was something that he connected with too. And I thought he was able to give some pretty good advice on speaking on the stigma and that maybe shorter officials might feel, or the perception that might be out there. Size obviously doesn't matter in this.
Right. Absolutely.
You don't need to be 6'7" like players are to the next level.
It was interesting. The coach really thought we were missing a lot of things out there, but when I saw it again, I was like, Coach, what are you complaining about?
Well, you got to remember his correct call percentage is 9.8%.
Yeah.
So we're not going to listen to any of their feedback because they're usually wrong. a very high percentage of the time.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions that you want to get into before we watch the game?
I mean, I have some questions that we can talk about. A little bit of the uniform feedback that you gave me. So I agree. I think my pants look a little baggy. My shirt looks a little baggy. When you go to tailor your pants, is there anything specific that you tell them to do for you?
No, I mean, I just say I want an athletic look. I want it to be form fitting. I don't want it to be too loose. Obviously, I'm not trying to wear skinny pants. I'm not trying to wear, skin tight stuff. But I think, I think of kind of the older uniform look, and I just see stomach. I see bagginess. I see the pants that are flopping. It's just a very old look to me. So I think we can update that look by getting our uniform tailored and just making it form fitting. Just customizing it for your body. That's that's it. The tailor's going to know what to do.
Yeah.
But it'll make a difference in the perception, I think. Again, it's a little things. You're in good shape. So, I mean, especially for the officials that are in good shape, should be wearing clothes that bring that out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate the areas of strengths that you touch upon, and obviously things that I need to work on as well. I think for me, the biggest things that I'm still kind of navigating are, how to really take command of the game and present myself as if I'm very certain and assertive out there. That's kind of like the things that I feel like I personally need to be working on the most, along with the game management as well. No, I mean, you had very detailed notes about my signals, which I really appreciated. And then, I think some of the timestamps were like, that was pretty obvious and a good feedback. I don't have much to say other than just accepting your feedback, but some of them I also, have questions, wrote my own thought process on. I really appreciate the attention to detail that you have on there.
Implacable place.
Ladies and gentlemen, a quick advertisement from.
It can be bright, quiet, and safe. It's a change that'll be felt from this street to this street
ad ever on
to
Game
no
Note.
Street.
Yeah.
And everywhere in between.
Yo, this site must be getting a lot of hits.
It's the slightest push
I know.
in just the right place, and that will be the tipping point that changes everything.
That'd be nice if GM sponsored. All right, Elvis, let's look at your first whistle of the game.
Pointer for Barrino, and it's 9-4.
I liked it. Pretty obvious. One thing I'll just say about that is just a play calling guideline. And right there, you had a great look to see the point of contact. But, just remember our percentages kind of drop a little bit lower when we're calling through the paint, especially on the contact that's like on the outside. Now, again, in this case, you had a good angle to see the point of contact. It's a non-issue. But when the lane starts to get crowded, or if it's a fast break situation, just keep that in mind of not calling through the paint unless you're 100%. In this case, you were. Thoughts?
Right. Yeah, no, everything you said, and then just to add on, just taking that extra half a second, if my partner doesn't get that, then that's when I come in and get it. But yeah, I had a good look at it. I gave my partner the first crack at it, and then I came and got it. I like it as well.
And just to give the audience just a little sight on what I meant by kind of that big hit, or reducing the range of motion here.
But he was called for the foul.
I mean, it looks strong, but we can make it better, and I think we did that.
Frazier in the act of shooting.
I agree.
He will shoot 2 for the Seahorses.
The backcourt count. I mean, we can move to the next play. It's not that deep a conversation, but you don't need to call a backcourt count, and I won't keep this part. It's just amazing that the technology we have, and we're still human counting.
Right.
So no IABO board president can tell me that's the right way to do. You can't tell me a human is better than a clock.
Yeah.
So it's just one less thing we have to do. Plus, it doesn't look good when we run and count.
Right.
And we rarely call a 10-second count. So you just use the shot clock. No one will say anything, and anyone that does, you have a good answer. I'm using the shot clock.
Right.
That's 10 real seconds.
Yep.
But these high school assigners and old school guys that aren't really even reffing anymore love to just talk about rules that were started in the 50s and 60s. Like, I don't know, game evolves.
Yeah.
The game evolves.
Yep. No, I feel you.
233. Oh, this is great. This is the one I posted today, right?
Yep, it is. Yep.
Did you like that little clip?
Yeah, for sure. I did.
Banks in a three.
Gave you a little shine on the bottom, took your cut
Yeah.
out. Great call. Take care of
No,
mine.
I like it.
Counts if you call it.
No,
You
I
can see the
appreciate it. I
smile under
posted
his
on my
mask.
story and
Nothing wrong with
yeah,
that.
heard back
19-14.
from some people that I haven't talked to in a while. It was nice.
Very cool.
Frazier.
All right, so you have a team control foul and
Takes out to
transition. These
Turner,
plays
short.
are tough because you don't anticipate
with the rebound,
this
the
guy
Wolves
chucking
on
him
the
here.
run.
Boom.
Yeah.
And it
Marino,
looked like it took you a second to process, maybe because you weren't locked in on those two players. But once that displacement was noticed and recognized, then you kind of came with that late whistle. So that was a really nice job. What were you thinking on this play?
No, it was not in my opinion, it was not an easy play. And you're right, I was not focusing on those two players. But when I saw the displacement, I honestly, wasn't focused on it. So I didn't get the best look at it. It took me time to process it. And then when I saw that he clearly gained an advantage because his teammate passed it immediately to him and he would have gotten an open layup, I thought I just had to come get it.
That was great. So let's clarify. What are you doing walking so close to the table? What happened here?
Yeah, this is a great point you made. So here, I don't know if you noticed, as soon as I made the call, the table immediately sounded the horn and allowed the subs to come in. Okay. So that's what I was telling them. I was telling them first, hold on. And then I just went closer to let them know, hey, make sure that you wait for me to report the foul first, and then you allow the subs to come in. And in the moment, they just didn't know that I had a foul and that they thought I had out of bounds. And that's why they did that. But that's the only reason why I got close to the table and had a conversation with them.
No doubt. You got to do what you got to do if that's what that required in that situation. All I'm saying is we don't look as confident when we kind of have to walk all over the table, maybe because we didn't speak clearly and they messed up the number or the jersey. But, that play right there, you look strong, you look confident. And then as you start to come to the table, I'm like, what's going on? Why is the game slowing down this much, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Mike actually didn't have to push off too many people.
Can you brighten your room? Can you throw a light on?
Yeah, I need to, if you give me a second, I can do that. Yeah.
All right. 207. I'm very impressed with your composure and poise as you score the goal. So copy and paste that.
Yep.
2 takeaways from this play.
KT underneath,
Scarred the flush it signal at the table.
Yep.
That old school flush it signal. And we talked about reducing the range of your hit. Because I just think there's a big difference between your score it table, your score it signal at the spot versus at the table. It should be equally as strong. I mean, they might look a little different because we're going from a live ball to a dead ball. But we shouldn't see like one signal on the spot. Wow, that was strong. And then at the table, it's like, who's that?
Yeah.
Yep. KT underneath, draws the contact.
That was great. I love that little low punch. You brought the other hand in. You gave the ball to your partner. Thank you. So many officials would just slap the ball away there or not pick it up. It's just another layer of good partnering.
Number 11.
It takes 1 second too. It's not.
It takes one second. So how would you score it at the table? Would you use the fist or the two fingers?
Yeah, after your feedback, I think I would use the 2 fingers.
Yeah. And when I do my 2-finger flush, I do it kind of across my body a little bit.
Sure.
Or you got just pick your direction, or just keep it straight. Or I just like the flush you did at the spot, score it at the table.
What would you do for the 3-pointer where you're counting the basket? Would you do 3 and then flush it in?
What would you do?
You keep... I mean, I think the 3 might look a little awkward. I might just do the fist and flush it in instead of
Yeah, you're right. The 3 does feel a little awkward. I've tried that before, and I don't know how it looked. I never saw it on film, but yeah, it does look a little awkward. I'll just punch it.
Yeah.
The punch flush. All right, we got an illegal screenplay here. you were there. You were at the game. I don't want to be a judge from my couch, so take me through this play. What do you have? Do you like it?
I don't like it. From the video, I see what I saw in the moment. I just thought he was a little bit wide. Maybe had a little chicken wing and just was a little bit wider than shoulder width. But I don't think it was necessarily enough contact. It didn't give the offense a big advantage. So yeah, I don't necessarily like this call.
You know, sometimes we get tripped up and baited into calling a foul because something looks or has characteristics of it being illegal. So you mentioned the chicken wing. Okay, his arms are out. Technically, that's not a legal screen. His feet are wide, too wide. Technically, that's not a correct legal screen, right? But we still need to see displacement and illegal contact.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a difference between an illegal arm and then actually an illegal contact. So, and then sometimes what we do is we take that information and that influences our decision-making and blowing the whistle. Then we watch it on film. We're like, okay, nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And you made a good note of my signals in the moment. I did it super quick.
Yeah.
I think my brain was like, all right, illegal arm, maybe a little too wide. It's going to be illegal. And maybe I anticipated that call. And, you know, my mind was going a little too fast.
Yeah, I mean, I always heard that. That was a great point. So I forget who told me, but you know, just imagine if your body's moving really fast, how fast your mind is moving. And so let's just take a look at your fist here. Just quick up and then punch. So that could be an indication that we were a little sped up, because I don't think you normally stop the clock like up and down that quickly, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we should almost have the same cadence for every foul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after I saw this play, I was like, wow, I should just every single time, no matter what, just go up strong, maybe pause for a second, and then go ahead and do my prelim if it requires it.
Yeah. Good table mechanics. I like how you went block and then team control signal. That always adds another layer of strength.
Yep. Sometimes I maybe a little bit too strong. I remember one time I was not aware of my surroundings and I almost punched a player doing that, and that could have been really bad. And ever since then, I've just been a lot more aware of my surroundings when I'm doing that.
VHS leads with 3:43 to go, and it's a short-lived lead as Aiden Devine.
All right, timeout mechanics. So reduce the excess. Let's see how many timeouts you do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I had 7 total.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, small. It's very small, but I think the more times we can eliminate what we don't need, it allows us to focus on all the things that we need to focus on. It's just one less thing to do. It's like one less thing on your list you have to do. We don't need to do 7 of these. It could just be, oop, I only do 1, sometimes 2. Sometimes I'll do like the quick first one and then hold the second one here. But
okay, yeah. No, I think, yeah, that's a good point. It does not look good. I agree 100%.
And that's obviously easy.
Yeah.
250, I wrote speed and lead. I just wanted to highlight this play and show it just because I thought you looked really athletic and quick here from your first step to your running motion to finishing, you know, where you needed to be. And you were doing that all game. So I wanted to make a note of that. That's a great job.
Thank you.
And you have a play.
Yep.
Then you have a play where the offense tries to pretty much jump over the shoulder of a legal defender.
Yeah.
It's not a classic charge because the contact is a little weird. The defender isn't perfect, but he's legal and he really does nothing wrong.
Yeah.
What'd
No,
you think?
absolutely. No, I like it. I like that I'm in position, even as we have a quick turnover there. I was able to just have a good look at where the defender was positioned, and I saw the play, you know, from start, beginning, and end.
Yeah. So the next steps I wrote, and, you know, you're gonna be a college official. You haven't tried out for college yet?
Yeah, I did. I got picked up as a provisional official for New England last season, and I opted out for this season.
So you know they changed the mechanic. Well, they really didn't change it. They just clarified it and they eliminated the punch.
Right.
So, you know, once I got news of that, there was no more punching for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that might be your favorite signal. It's no longer in the book anymore. So we got to start to adapt and change. So have you started to work on that behind the head signal yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think even before the IPR and we started doing this, I had been working on it. You got to make it more consistent and do it every time. Quick question for you about that signal. And I think in your personalized video, you mentioned something about like the illegal screen and team controls also using the behind the head. And in that signal, we also went away from the punch. That one might take a little bit more muscle memory and more practice for me to get. But I think it's good. Maybe if I would have done that in the play that we had earlier, the table would have known that I had foul, and they wouldn't have allowed the subs coming early. I don't know.
Could have been.
You don't see too many
What was I gonna say?
high school basketball players make that play. And
Yeah, it was a little strange for me this year. You know, like that first illegal screen I had, where now I'm no longer punching it and I'm going behind the head on a legal screen. Felt a little awkward. You know, you could stop the clock and just point, even though that's not correct by the book. It's better than a punch. And, you know, then you just go to the table, white 22, team control foul.
Yeah.
So if you want to ease into it with just the fist into the point, that might be a way to ease into it. Or you just go right into it, fist behind the head point. And switch up the arms too. If you stop the clock with the right, you can go behind the head. I'm sorry, if you stop the clock with the left, you can go behind the head with the left, point with the right, or you could stop the clock with the left, go behind the head with the right, point with the left, and then you have those same set of options on the other arm. So it's just a way to kind of vary and, you know, a little bit more variety with your package.
Nagano took that big three last time, fakes it this time, pushes it in. Wolves with some good defense, but Taylor drops. Get it to Von Dopp.
All right, my question for you, was there any trash talking on this play? It looks like A1 scores. I can't tell, but he looked in the direction of the player, might have shouted, said something. Anything on that play?
Yeah. No, it looks like he was, you know, kind of just showing off a little bit, showboating a little bit, perhaps.
Good move.
I think your good move. Your note was great. I think for me, it's good to keep an eye on that and just know what the temperature of the game is in that situation. Is that gonna kind of rise the temperature up and the other team might retaliate? I'm not sure. But also, like, a question for you, like, how do we address a player just looking at another player? Because sometimes it's not necessary. You know, the ball went into the hoop. It's not like we had a dead ball with a whistle where we stopped the game. It would have been an interrupter. I feel like if I would have gone over to him. I have a couple ideas for me. You know, I think just saying in that live ball, just saying, "Hey, knock it off."
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's an idea. Or just the next dead ball, just let him know, "Hey, I saw you were excited about that play. Just make sure you celebrate with your own teammates."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. You laid out two great options. You can shout it to him in that moment. Talk to your own team. Knock it off, just like you said. Or get to him at the next dead ball. Give him a compliment. Hey, that was a great shot you just made. But don't stare at the other team after. It looked like it could have been taunting.
Yeah.
There's another great point is, when does looking at someone become taunting? Right? I'm allowed to look at you. You can't tell my eyes where they can go.
Right.
I can look at you, but the question is, when does it become taunting? Well, I think we have to factor in distance. I think we have to factor in volume, right? So there's all these little factors. So it's just interesting. But I think it comes down to time. How long is he staring? How close is he? What is he saying? Did he say anything in that moment, or just looked?
I don't think he said anything. No.
Yeah.
I think I felt fine with letting it go and just kind of ignoring it in the moment, just being aware that it might, you know, elevate something else.
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking earlier, you had a little bit of a quiet game, so we're just trying to find little pieces that we can address and add more layers to. We want to stay proactive. We want to stay ahead of the game. If you feel like that was nothing to address, then we're good.
So senior Asher Von Dopp, he's going to shoot the 1-and-1.
All right, so we have a technical foul here. Whoa. Rewind.
We do.
Von Dopp, don't take it, and
So take me through this play. I mean, the coaches haven't said anything to this point, which they shouldn't have. So that they don't get extra credit because they haven't yelled yet. A lot of coaches like to use that against you. I haven't said anything yet. I haven't complained once. You want a gold medal for that? Stop acting like that. That's a leverage that you're going to have on me. You're not supposed to do any of the things you just mentioned.
Right.
So the coach was a little quiet, and then we just kind of had a technical. So what happened? What did he say? Take me through it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wrote a couple of notes, and one was about my play calling in this play first. I had, like you said, the ball handler brought the ball down, and it was not necessarily a good basketball play, and because that was easier for the defender to hit him. I thought he got hit. I made the foul call, and then it was his teammate who yelled, "That's not an effing foul." And I gave a technical to the player, to number 10, I believe, white number 10.
Got you.
Because he just yelled, "That's not an effing foul." So when I told the coach, he was okay with it, and he said, "I'm sorry." This is a good play to talk about because we have the administration of the technical foul, and I think this is maybe one of the plays where I could have just looked a little bit more assertive and like I'm in control of the game. It looks like maybe there's doubt in my mind because I am trying to remain calm and collected. But there was no doubt. I just wanted to bring my teammates in to kind of break down the play. All right, we got a technical foul. We were in the bonus, so we're going to shoot 1-on-1, and then we're going to shoot the technical fouls. And I just needed my help from my partner because I was not sure who got fouled initially. Just like after thinking about it, I was like, all right, let's make sure we have the right shooter.
Yeah, I mean, it gets difficult. We forget some of these things as the game's temperature rises. Then you gotta really slow down. All right, and it's basic stuff too. Who's the foul on? Who's the foul? Right. Because we're worrying about these other things. Let's just take a step back. Let's look at the play first. Let's look at your positioning.
Okay.
So you're in trail. Ball is being reversed. We have a deflection. All right, so A1 picks it back up. Gets it deflected by B1 for a second. Again, deflection by B1. So A1's being trapped here by three players. Yeah. So we also want to have a little bit of a heightened sense of awareness. Not to say we want to avoid calling a foul here, but you want to give that defense a chance to, take advantage of that situation, of that trap. Now, if they just come out and push, then it's a foul. But I guess what I'm saying is we don't want to call a cheap one when there's great defense and it's 3-on-1. We just kind of want to let it play out a second.
Absolutely, yeah.
The ball turns over.
So do you have arm before ball? Or
yeah, I just thought he went for the ball and just got him on the arm. I do think that I could have been just a little bit more patient, just by half a second. But I also did see the contact.
Did you factor in that the offensive player was kind of out of control and never really had? I mean, he's being trapped, he's being hounded.
Right.
Did that play a role into maybe like having a patient whistle?
I mean, right there, you said the word hounded. I mean, I think he was being hounded in a way that became illegal ultimately. But yeah, when there's three bodies right on him, I think maybe our sense of awareness just kind of heightens a little bit, and like maybe I did anticipate a little bit, and that's what I mean by saying that I needed to take an extra half a second. But and I also saw the contact on the arm.
Yeah, I know we had spoke about this play as a play type where when A1 brings the ball so low to the ground, you see those rip throughs where they rip it literally and the ball is almost on the ground.
Right.
Sometimes that offensive player initiates the contact into the defender's arm as they're trying to go grab the ball. Right. I always try to really have a patient whistle when the ball is that low to the ground. I don't think it's a good basketball play. Yeah. I don't think it's taking care of the ball. So I don't want to come out and call something marginal or incidental in that moment. Again, regardless what happened on this play, just take this into your next games. Sure. Next time the ball's on the floor like that, we have to have a real hit or a pull or a slap. This little arm touching, 2 inches off the ground, I might let it go.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
So 10 just curses at you. I saw you look at him. Now he tries covering up his mask.
Yeah. And it's interesting because later on in the game, the coach said, "Hey, no, I spoke to him. He promises that he didn't say that. But if he did, I'm sorry." So I just told the coach, "It's okay, coach. I understand. You know, this is an emotional game, and it happens. But I appreciate it. No big deal. Let's move on."
You know what I would have said? I would have said, "Coach, I really appreciate that. Thanks for saying that. Unfortunately, your player's lying to you."
I like that.
They always try to
that.
lie. They do. So
yeah, and and that even made me just question a little bit in my mind, because with the mask, it's just like another element we have to think about. Like maybe it was somebody on the bench. I don't know, but I was almost 100% certain that he was the one who said it. So someone said it, and I was pretty sure it was him. But with the mask, it just makes it a little bit more difficult.
yeah, so this is where we want you to show a little bit more authority and running the game, and just I want you to like handle everything by yourself. And once you do that, then you go to your partners and you tell them how we're administrating the game versus, all right, this is what happened. You know, what do we do next? Now, I understand we forget shooters, we forget who the foul was on. So these things happen. But ideally, I'm going to go to the table. There's 2 fouls on the play. White, 10, hit, right? Or whoever the foul. White, 11, hit. And then we have a technical foul on white, 11. 2 shots in the ball. And then I'm going to go let my partners know. Okay, partners, we have 2 fouls on the play. I called a hit foul. All right. And then I called a technical foul on 10. So 10 white. So red is going to shoot 2 shots down here, and they're going to get the ball back at half court. And that's how we're going to resume. You guys good with that? Yeah. Good. All right, good. Let's go.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah. That's the way to run the game right there. I like it.
And I understand when we call a technical foul, we feel this attention and maybe a little pressure is on us. Definitely feel like everyone's watching. So I know we kind of maybe analyze our movements and I don't know, it's a little bit of an uncomfortable situation, but I want you to turn it into comfort.
Yeah.
Like these are the situations where we should be most comfortable. And you know, so I think,
sure.
Yeah, I think we can add a few of those comments that would definitely help.
Yeah. And I think also like I took my time in reporting the second technical foul, and I think that maybe added to the confusion for everyone. So I could have just, like you said, just reported both fouls right then and there.
And we got to just find the line between taking our time to administer the play correctly and then making sure we put the ball back in play and the game is not waiting for us too long.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, 4:30, have a hit from lead. The point of contact is not visible on film, so I will trust you on this one. But my question is, did you like this call or could we have passed?
Yeah, I mean, this game happened, now over a month ago, so I'm not going to pretend like I remember exactly that play. But it does look like a light foul on film. Film doesn't lie. It's one of those as well where it was like a seaside drive, so I also could have just passed on it and trusted my partner with that one as well.
What did you see?
Yeah, I mean, I just saw a hit on the arm. But sometimes it's like a touch on the arm and they go in and lay it up easily. Yeah. We should be calling less of those fouls instead of more.
So I know exactly what it is. It's that swipe down.
Yeah.
Hand to wrist, 3 swipes, and at that micro moment, it's like, oh, there's contact.
Right.
And then it just plays on, and there's no remnants of it, and there's no rhythm, speed, balance affected. Is this a foul on 3 or the secondary defender? Okay, I see. I mean, I see 3 reach. No, I'm not saying he didn't touch him, but those are kind of those. As you start to go more college camps, you're going to hear, cheap N1. Let's try to avoid the cheap N1.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, they're talking smack to each other. They're amped up right now. Well, that's the thing about this. I mean, you like to see it.
And yeah, just give that play to the C too, because I think that gets back to what we were talking about earlier on, calling through the paint.
Yeah.
Right? And our percentages definitely drop when we call through the paint.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The kids are going to bring the energy. I mean, I watched the JV game. It felt like a playoff game. Yep. Frazier kicks it to Turner.
So 342, I wrote bring 100% information.
Mm-hmm.
Gets it into Agno. He's trying to force it up. Couple of
So we have a
blocks
quick
by the Wolves,
rotation
and
here.
KT with the
I don't love
defensive
when we
rebound,
run
and
to rotate. I think it messes
it
up.
is the Wolves ball.
Yeah.
And it's just we're rushing. No need to sprint over.
I know. I was going to say Tom Barron obviously not happy.
So,
Oh, he's going to ask the
Out of bounds play, questionable out of bounds play.
Mhm.
Before we get to this point, did you see it live, and did you think of going in and changing your partner's call or bringing in information?
I did not see it. I was ready to be the new lead. My partner called me over, and I told him I did not see it.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah. So you got to be 100%. If you're
Right.
99, then you're nothing.
Yeah.
But
I guess it has to be really.
it's important that if we don't know when we blow the whistle, we go, partner, help. And then if you don't know,
Frazier kicks it to
then we go jump right away.
Right.
Now, in a 3-person game, you might bring in the other official, although in this case, the center has no idea. So I don't know if I would even bring him in here. But if we're unsure on the spot, be confident in being wrong.
Yeah.
We should be loud and proud when we're wrong, and because it's gonna give us more respect, and people appreciate when you're being honest. It's an open display of honesty. Do. Partner, help.
They appreciate that we're not guessing.
Exactly.
I would, as a player or coach, I would appreciate if the officials don't guess out there.
The official at the top and see if he saw anything different. And
so I would never even call an official to I would never even meet in this situation.
Yeah.
This late in the call. We got to do this early. We can't do it as we're putting the ball back in. Like, wait, hold up. Right. I mean, we can fix it at any moment before we put the ball in, but best practice would be to do it on the spot and not wait a few seconds. Now attention's being brought up on us. We look unsure.
Yeah.
I don't. And he did. Saw what he saw. Hey, he saw what he saw. And I guess it has to be really clear for one official to overrule the other, right? Yeah, that is correct. He's one of those kids. I thought he was a senior when he was a sophomore.
I noticed you mentioned something to a player here. I was wondering if there was any conversation or anything of note.
Yeah. No, I came in between 2 players right away just to make sure nothing happens. And then here, White 3 was telling me, "Hey, look at him. He's got his mask down. He's got his mask down." And I just told him, "Hey, White, you talk to White. I promise if I see him, I'll take care of it." And we moved on. He was just he just wanted me to, I don't know, call him out for not wearing his mask over his nose.
No problem. We respect your safety.
Really has,
Yep.
5:48, you have a holding trail. This is a real simple partner trip, but instead of dropping the ball before you report, make a nice pass to your partner and makes the crew look more cohesive.
Yep.
So you could have just gave him a beautiful pass right back.
Divine and Taylor had doubled.
It was right there. He was right there in a great position for me to just give him the pass right in his chest. For sure.
Good.
Now he had to go bend over. Yeah.
Let everybody know that you were a good passer back in your day.
Yeah.
I was not a good passer. I was a good shooter. I didn't like to pass that much.
I'm a good passer now, but honestly, I didn't really play basketball growing up.
You sound like a great ideal teammate for me.
Baseball was my sport.
Gotcha.
I love the analogy of the Jeter chop in your videos because it's just like engraved in my mind, and it's an easy one to explain, and everyone can visualize it and just make it clear. I like it.
Well, you're a New England guy, but I appreciate you saying that about my boy.
I mean, I grew up in the Bronx.
You are.
Actually, I grew up in the Bronx, so I don't like the Yankees. Even though I grew up in the Bronx, but I definitely recognize the Jeter chop.
How long did you live there for?
I mean, all through high school. I went to high school in the Bronx.
I didn't realize that you transplanted up there after high school. What high school did you go to?
Christopher Columbus High School.
Is that in Manhattan?
In the Pelham Bay area in the Bronx.
Pelham Bay, nice area.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have a few more plays in the next game, but I figure we just use this last, 10 minutes to kind of answer any other questions that you might have. And when you think games will get back in your area?
I mean, I think there's a couple of tournament coordinators that I know are working on getting some AU and youth basketball back on. Actually, today one of them just hit me back up for this Sunday, so I'll be doing some games this Sunday.
Oh, cool.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully you get to go, apply some of the things that we talked about today, and I want to hear your feedback, after you being on the court. I know I've gotten a lot of calls since officials have had the IPR on the difference kind of that they feel getting back out there. So I'm interested to hear that.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Okay. We mentioned the free throw positioning. I want to talk about that one a little bit. Okay. So I do purposely stay a little bit wide, just so that, if we get an offensive rebound, I'm in my opinion, a good position to see the space between players, or just even on the free throw rebounding, I can see the space between players, as opposed to being a little bit more straight lined, which is, I've heard people both ways say, hey, you should be a little wider, you should be a little closer. And that's the reasoning for me being a little wider, so I can see the space between the players. What's your reasoning for being just a little bit on a closed down position?
Are you talking about in the C position? In
the B position.
In lead.
Right. And lead on free throw administration,
yeah.
Or once I bounce a second last free throw, going back out.
Yeah, I see a lot of officials so wide. Yeah. So wide. And I'm like, what are you doing out there? What purpose can you, what purpose can you have by being that wide? You can't see your obligation to find the player's feet in those lane spaces, because I think you're stacked now. You're not connected to any of the contact that might occur because you're a little far out. So I like to stay right in the lane line, like a step out, maybe a step wide from the lane line.
Okay.
But it's not too wide. I mean, it's pretty much right how I would stand if the ball's in the paint.
Sure. Yeah.
How was your position? I can't remember in lead. Were you a little wide?
Yeah, I try to stand wide enough so that I can see the three players opposite lane from me. I can see their feet, so to make sure they don't step in early. And also, at the same time, the 3 lane players close to me, so that I can see the space between them when they go jumping for a rebound, so that they don't push through the back.
Size and height has to do with the depth and width that official is going to stand in. So it might be a little bit different for everybody else.
Yeah.
So you got to go where you feel comfortable and you have the best look. So, I may recommend you being a little bit closer to the lane line, but you may feel a little bit more comfortable a step or two back. That you got to make that decision. I was just kind of moving you. I see in the diagram here, I picked you up and just placed you a little bit to the left.
Yeah, I see that.
That's just where I stand. That's where I feel comfortable. But
okay, no, fair enough.
It's funny. I just want to tell the story of our first interaction, or one of our first interactions a few years ago on Instagram. I put out a post about the importance and effectiveness of the book Verbal Judo and how it helps transform your communication skills and game management skills and the ability to get players and coaches compliant to what you need to happen and basically follow the rules and be able to communicate in a kind of game-changing way that just gives you more control. So I put out a post. I said, you guys should check this book out. I have my copy. I'm happy to let someone borrow it. I will ship it to you if you want to read it straight from the Crown Refs Library. You responded about your interest in the book. I shipped it to you. You were able to read it.
Yeah.
And then the Crown Library put out a call that, you're about to be charged a late fee because you're maybe a month behind, but we avoided the late fee and you did
right.
get it back. So thank you. Tell me about that experience.
No, I definitely remember that I took my time in reading it, and I know that if I would have waited another week, I would have been charged with that late fee. So I apologize for taking my time there, but I do appreciate you saying that out to me. I actually used that when I was working as a coordinator of intramurals at UVM. I used that book. We had a little book report that we were doing, and I brought a book report about that book just to talk about how to apply at the intramural level, and how to just de-escalate situations with your words rather than escalate them by trying to be a tough guy or whatever. So it was great. I definitely put it to use, and I hope that I kind of let others know about the book.
Good.
Great.
You felt the difference getting back on the court once that book kind of absorbed?
For sure. And I still think about things that I learned in that book, and my general demeanor is about de-escalating and using the words of the coaches or the players, not against them per se, but as leverage, and kind of just understanding that everyone wants to be heard. It's human nature to want to be understood and heard. So that's the first step. Okay, coach, I hear you. Letting them finish, not interrupting them, and then trying to see what it is that they want in order to get back to officiating the game, because that's the most important thing.
I call it back to the line. Get back to the line of the game. The line is the game, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we get thrown off the line because of behavior or things that we need to address. So it's always nice to bring players and coaches back to the line. That's why we're here. I would definitely recommend anyone listening right now to read that book. Take your time with it. If you're not a book reader and you don't think you'll get around to it, good news. I did 2 episodes on the podcast with the writer of the book, Jerry Jenkins, who's sold more than 70 million copies in his career. So he's a great writer, and he was able to give kind of a general synopsis on the concept of the book and how it applies. And then in the next episode, I was able to feature Alex Bromley. Now, Verbal Judo is a book, but it's also a course. It's also communication, like instruction. They do seminars, they do webinars, they work with police officers, corporate, hospitals, basically any industry. Every industry needs to know how to communicate better. Every human needs to know how to communicate better. So I had Alex on, and he was able to give tactical advice on how to apply some of the Verbal Judo content. So if you didn't read the book, get around to, I think, episodes 71 and 72, two of our most popular episodes. So
great episodes, 100%.
Well, thank you, Elvis. Is there anything else that you would like to say to our dedicated audience of basketball officials that are listening?
Yeah, I mean, I think my last question or just comment, it's about coach communication and how to communicate with coaches. In the second game that I sent you, I had a situation where coach was telling me, hey, my guys are not allowed to get what's the word? He thought they were getting an arm bar as they were driving down to lane. And he was saying, they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to do that. And I listened to what he was saying, and I said, Coach, I agree with you 100%. And him and his players from the bench just like gave me a laugh and a weird look, and just asking, why are you not calling it then? Coach, I'm not seeing that. If I do, I promise I'll get it. So it was just like, it made me feel like I was being a little bit of a smart ass in the moment. I didn't necessarily feel great about it, but I think that in the end, that coach maybe understands that his words matter. Like if he's not communicating right with me, I'm going to focus on the game. I'm not going to try to read into his words. It's not my job to listen to him and answer him and see what he's trying to tell me. If he has a respectful question or a reasonable question, I'll find the right time to do it. But it matters how they communicate towards us, just as it matters how we communicate towards them.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're really poor communicators with regards to officials. They have a lot of work to do. We need to be the best communicator on the court, so we don't want to stoop down to their level. What I might have done differently with yours is if he's shouting for a foul, you got to call that. You got to call that. Whoa, coach, what did you see?
Yeah.
What did you see?
Yeah.
Tell me, explain the call, explain the illegal contact. I'm not going to tell him that, but that's what we're getting at. Now the floor is his. Now we're asking him to speak intelligently about the play. I've played a little defense. Whoa, coach, what did you see? That's how I play defense.
Right.
And it's short defense. It's not very long. I don't play a lot of defense. Sometimes we got to play it. And by defense, I just mean we're listening. Okay, I hear you. Tell me what you saw. And then I'm going to go based off what he says. Then I can play off whatever he says. He's probably going to yell out or speak out some inaccuracies. Now, as soon as we hear those inaccuracies, that's when we can play offense now.
Absolutely.
Oh, he had one hand on him. Oh, coach, you're allowed to put one hand on and remove it. He removed it, so that was legal. That's why we didn't have a hand check foul.
Yeah.
So you just kind of play off their lack of knowledge.
Yeah, like it.
Yeah, a lot of I look at it as a boxing fight, a verbal boxing fight. A lot of coaches, they love to play one round. They love to do one round. They're not looking to go the distance. And I'm not saying I'm going to go the distance with the coach and we're going to be here arguing and debating forever. But yeah, they're real loud with that one in round one.
Yeah.
Once we start getting into round two and round three, usually the conversation dissipates and dissolves.
Yeah. The rules knowledge goes away. They don't have much to say. They just keep repeating the same things. They're getting hit, and there's not much more that they really say after that.
So go specific with coaches because they go generic. Yeah. They go generic. We go specific. Right. Once we take the conversation specific, they're gonna back out. Yeah. It's too much for them, for most of them. So this was great, man. I want to stay in touch with you, help you in any way I can. Feel free to send me plays. I want to hear about your progress next week, getting back onto the court with your games.
Yeah, no, sounds good, man. I really appreciate you taking your time out and helping me out. I hope that all the passionate officials out there just continue learning and growing from you and reach out and do an IPR if you can. So definitely, think I'm going to gain a lot from this and just general things tips that I can use to break down my own film as well. It's a lot of what I'm getting from this experience.
That's a great point. So now you're going to go IPR yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate you saying that, Elvis. It was a pleasure working with you. And I appreciate everyone that is listening. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to the Crown Refs Podcast. Serve the game.